You are standing in a stadium of 80,000 people you have never met. None of them know your name. You will never see most of their faces again. And yet, in the moment the ball hits the net, you throw your arms around a complete stranger like he is your brother. Why does that happen? Why does a room full of strangers suddenly feel like family? Your brain did not evolve for stadiums. It evolved for small groups, tight circles of maybe 50 to 150 people, the number anthropologists call Dunbar's number, the rough limit of relationships your mind can meaningfully track. 80,000 strangers should feel like noise. Instead, it feels like belonging. Something in your body is overriding the math. That something has a name. In 1912, the French sociologist Émile Durkheim sat with the question of why humans gather in large groups to chant, to dance, to scream together. He was not studying football. He was studying religious rituals, tribal ceremonies, ancient gatherings around fire. But he found the same pattern everywhere. When people move, chant, or shout in sync, something shifts. Individual identity softens. A shared identity rises to take its place. He called it collective effervescence, the electric, almost trance-like feeling of dissolving into something larger than yourself. A stadium is a modern-day ritual fire. The chanting is the drumbeat. The wave rolling around the stands is the dance. The roar after a goal is the scream around the flame. You feel it in your chest before you understand it in your head. Here is where it gets stranger. Scientists have measured this. In 2011, the anthropologist Dimitrios Xygalatas traveled to Mauritius to study a firewalking ritual, a ceremony where participants walk barefoot across burning coals while a crowd watches, chants, and prays. He fitted both the firewalkers and the spectators with heart rate monitors. What he found surprised even him. The heart rates of the people simply watching began to sync with the heart rates of the people walking through fire. Strangers in the crowd, watching the same intense moment, unconsciously matched each other's physiology. Now think about the last time you watched a penalty kick. Your shoulders tensed, your breathing shortened, your heart rate spiked in the exact second the ball left the boot. So did the heart rate of the stranger next to you. You were not just watching the same event. For a few seconds, your bodies were running the same program. This is called physiological synchrony, and researchers have found it again and again in crowds bound by shared, emotional stakes. It is not a metaphor when people say a stadium felt like it was breathing as one. In measurable, recordable ways, it sometimes is. But synchrony is only half the story. The other half is chemical. Robin Dunbar, the Oxford evolutionary psychologist who gave us that number of 150 meaningful relationships, spent years studying what happens in the brain when people move or vocalize together, singing in a choir, rowing in a boat, chanting in unison. His research found that synchronized activity triggers a release of endorphins, the same neurochemicals responsible for a runner's high.
Time's ticking away.
Endorphins do more than dull pain. They build trust. They make you feel closer to the people beside you, even people you met an hour ago in a stadium concourse. That is why you can walk in as a stranger to the person in the next seat and walk out feeling like you survived something together. You did survive something together. 90 minutes of shared tension, shared fear, shared release. Think about the sound itself. A single human voice at full volume struggles to carry past 100 meters, but 80,000 voices, chanting the same syllables at the same moment, creates something different. Researchers who study crowd acoustics have recorded stadium roars exceeding 140 decibels, on par with a jet engine at takeoff. That sound is not just loud, it is felt. It moves through your ribcage. Your body cannot fully separate hearing it from becoming part of it. There is a reason this feeling has haunted football history for generations, and one match captures it better than almost any other. July 16, 1950. The Maracana Stadium in Rio de Janeiro. An estimated crowd near 200,000 people, the largest to ever witness a football match in person, gathered for what almost everyone assumed would be a coronation. Brazil needed only a draw against Uruguay to win the World Cup on home soil. Newspapers had already printed the headline declaring Brazil champions. The mayor had prepared a victory speech. Brazil scored first. The stadium exploded into a single, unified roar, 200,000 throats behaving as one enormous lung. Then Uruguay scored twice. And the same crowd that had just produced one of the loudest sounds in sporting history fell into something historians describe as an almost total silence. Not scattered groans, not partial disappointment. A collective, synchronized quiet. So complete that players later said they could hear individual voices for the first time all match. That silence is collective effervescence too. The same mechanism that binds a crowd together in ecstasy binds it together in grief. Durkheim's theory did not just explain the roar, it explained the silence after. This is what makes crowd psychology so different from individual psychology. Alone, your reaction to a goal or a missed chance is private. Surrounded by 80,000 people feeling it at the same instant, your private reaction gets absorbed into something bigger, amplified, mirrored back at you from every direction until you can no longer tell where your emotion ends and the crowd's begins. Neuroscientists have a term for the brain structures involved in this kind of emotional mirroring. Mirror neurons fire both when you perform an action and when you watch someone else perform it. Some researchers believe this same mirroring system helps explain why watching a stranger celebrate a goal can trigger the same rush of dopamine in your own brain, almost as if you scored it yourself. You did not score it. You did not save it. You did not even play. But for 1 second, your nervous system did not know the difference. This is why the stadium seat next to a stranger can feel like sitting beside a friend of 20 years. Your brain, wired for tribes of 150, has been tricked, gently and pleasurably, into treating 80,000 people as one enormous tribe. The chanting is the ritual. The synchronized heartbeat is the bond. The shared roar and the shared silence are the proof that for those 90 minutes, you were never really a stranger in that crowd at all. So the next time you feel your chest tighten before a penalty, surrounded by people you will likely never see again, remember what is actually happening beneath the noise. Your heart rate is syncing with theirs. Endorphins are quietly building trust between you and every person shouting the same words. A 100-year-old theory about ritual and fire is playing out in real time, in a stadium, over a football. You are not just watching the game. You are, for one loud, unforgettable moment, part of the crowd that makes it feel like the whole world is watching too.